Hello, today is October 31st, 2020. My name is Anthony Villanueva. I am interviewing Gilda Villanueva for the Latin Oral History Project, Voices of a Pandemic Project at the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies at Northern Illinois Universities. This project is in partnership with Voices Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin. Because we are not conducting this interview, uh, I need to record your consent. The
Mhm.
If there is anything that you do not wish to answer or talk about, I will honor your wishes. The Center for Latino and Latin American Studies wishes to archive your interview along with any other photographs or documentation at the Northern Illinois University Libraries. Northern Illinois University Libraries will retain the copyrights over the interview and any other materials you donate. Do you give the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies consent to archive your interview and your materials at the Northern Illinois University Libraries?
Yes,
Do you grant Northern Illinois University Libraries rights and title and interest over the copyrights over the interview and any materials you may provide?
yes,
Do you agree to allow Northern Illinois University Libraries to post this interview on the internet where it may be viewed by people around the world?
yes,
Do you grant the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies consent to share your interview and other materials with Voices Oral History Center at the University of Texas at Austin for inclusion in the Voices of a Pandemic Oral History mini project?
yeah.
Do you wish for us to share the rest of your video in your public file available for researchers at Benson?
I don't know what's
What,
been.
what that means is um, if somebody doing research at some other time and place or university, if they come across your interview and they want to speak to you about some of your experiences, do you grant us permission to give them your information?
No,
No. Okay. Just say, I do not agree.
I do not agree.
Okay. On occasion, the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies receives requests from journalists who wish to contact our interview subjects. We only deal with legitimate news outlets. Do you give consent for us to share your phone number or email address?
I do not agree.
Okay, that's fine. We won't. Okay. Now that we've got that formality aside, could you tell me a little bit about your background yourself?
My background, nurse, a mom, a grandmother. Um, what else?
Well, you could share with us um, where you went to high school, where you went to college, how you got interested in the nursing profession.
I went to college at city college, and my interest in nursing took hold when I had my son. I wanted to become a midwife. And so I went into nursing. And then I went into nursing, and I'm retired now
How many years were you in the nursing profession?
for 34 years.
And did you work in the same hospital or did you,
I
uh,
same hospital.
for
For,
34 years? How was that experience for you, working in the same place for 34 years?
well, it was the only consistent thing in my life.
Okay.
I've been through divorces, so that took its toll. And the only stable thing was my job.
How about your children? How many children do you have?
I have 3 kids. Yes.
Are any of them in the nursing profession now?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no. It was rough. It was too much. It was very stressful. It was a very stressful job, especially managerial. Just kind of limited your ability to do nursing care. It was quite difficult, especially at New York Presbyterian.
So of the 34 years that you worked at the New York Presbyterian, how many
Yeah.
of those years were in management?
No management.
Oh, okay.
It-
And what were when did you first learn or hear about COVID-19?
COVID. I worked on March 20th, and I was going to work the next day. I got a call that not to come in because the patient that I had taken care of the day before was COVID positive, COVID-19 positive, COVID-19 or COVID-9?
19.
19.
Okay.
And so yeah.
So when you were taking care of that patient the day before, were you wearing a PPE?
No,
You didn't know that it wasn't a
we
big.
didn't. She had just delivered like 7 hours prior. Um, no mention that she was COVID-19. I mean, she wasn't even tested. Um, I did, however, end up wearing a mask because she was starting to cough. Um, but it was just normal, figuring that it would probably, fluid overload or something that caused her to cough a lot. And so, was helping her splint and to get it out. And nobody knew about it till midnight.
And what was
Uh,
the prognosis of that patient?
Excuse me?
What was the prognosis of that patient?
Well, she around midnight she had an O2 sat of 88%, and they took her to she ended up in the NICU. I mean, I'm still ICU, not
Mhm,
NICU.
mhm.
And she was okay afterwards though. Her
Oh, she
prog
wa-
Yeah, she walked out of the hospital finally. I don't know the whole
yeah,
detail.
yeah, but she didn't pass away. She didn't
Unit
pass away.
passed
Right.
away. But she
And
finding symptoms that would have put her in, that situation. She was diabetic, she was obese. So those were some of the.
how did that was back in March, and how did the COVID-19 progress within the hospital administration, within the facility? Did it get worse as time went on?
In at the end of March, everybody was kind of like getting a little preoccupied or cautious and wanting to prepare for COVID-19 coming to our unit. We wanted to make sure we had masks and, things to protect us. And we didn't have sufficient amounts. And if we did have a box or two of the masks, people were hiding it to make sure we had it for
Right,
later.
right.
Uh, and so we were concerned that we weren't prepared. Even before the end of March, when we heard about it, at Wuhan, what was going on,
Right.
yeah.
So, at what point, progressing from March, April, May, at what point did it become critical at any point, the census of COVID patients in your hospital?
Well, after that day that I was told to stay home, um, I stayed home. And then, of course, I have an underlying illness that can put me at a risk, which I'm immunosuppressed. I have rheumatoid arthritis. And, with the medications that I take, it puts me, at a higher,
Risk.
susceptibility to COVID-19. And so, and since then, with my rheumatoid arthritis, I didn't go back to work. I stayed out
Stayed out for how long?
until I retired.
Oh, so you never went back to work. Okay. Okay.
No.
And let's switch to where you live. Is do you know anybody? Do you know anybody in your building that had COVID?
Well, I don't live like in a building where there's other floors on top of me,
Okay. In your neighborhood, then.
townhouse. So, there's only like 5 units,
Oh, okay.
and it's a small town,
Okay.
an overpopulated area. It's not in the city.
Okay. So the Nyack area where you live, it
Yeah.
was not uh, adversely impacted by.
Well, not our town, but a couple of towns over,
Right.
further west. There were, over near Muncie,
Yes.
which is an overpopulated area of the Hasidic community.
Yes.
That really, really hard.
Really, it was really high.
Yeah.
The incident. Yes.
Mhm.
Um, have you ever been tested for COVID?
So I ended up getting tested the first time was a nasal culture, which came out negative. And then a couple of weeks ago, I took it again only because I had like a flu.
Right.
Um, and like I said, I'm so, I my immunity level is low that even a sore throat ends up, I end up with a cold, which
Right.
sort of like a flu.
Right.
And so I was sick for a week, and then after that, I decided to take a blood test, and I was negative. So that's good
Did
to
you
hear.
take an antigen test?
Yes, yes.
It was also negative.
Hmm.
Good. Um, in the present day atmosphere, do you feel safe that do you feel safe from COVID?
Um, I I'm not gonna say that. It's like, driving in your car, I can't say that I'm feeling safe because you still have to be alert and aware of your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh yeah, I might feel a little comfortable, but I'm not gonna feel totally comfortable because, that's when you get yourself into an accident.
Right.
So, I'm aware, and I watch what I handle. Some shops, it's really nice. They have these Purell before you enter to wash your hands, and you have to wash your hands when you're, touching upholstery or looking at fabrics.
Mhm.
I'm not isolated. I won't be. I go for my walks. If I have to go, I mean, shopping. I do most of my stuff online, but then once in a while I'll go out shopping. Um, but I'm more at home now. And I just retired.
Mhm.
And I would have liked to have traveled a bit.
Okay.
Um, and I might, and probably hopefully next year. But I knew that COVID-19 would go up again come winter time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Has it increased in your
Yeah.
area?
Well, no, not, within the city, I guess. You know.
How far out of the city do you live?
Um, was it 30 miles?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
30, 15, I think. Something like
Do you
that.
know anybody that died from COVID?
I heard from a friend, her friend, a few family members did, and they lived in the city.
How do you feel? How do you think that this COVID pandemic has affected your peace and tranquility in in your home?
It's made me more conscious about being more at peace. Um, and it's a good question, and I I feel, I don't know, I feel more at ease. You know, what's going to be is going to be, and I'm just going to enjoy my time. Right now I'm sewing. I'm taking oil classes. Um, and I'm I'm retired,
Okay,
and I feel totally happy about that.
good. That's great. How about your son and daughters? They've had no episodes with COVID with any of their friends.
No,
That's good.
no,
Do you find that the fact that you worked in nursing, that anybody treats you different now, even though you're retired, knowing that you had worked hand in hand with medical
no,
personnel that were exposed to COVID? No.
no.
Did you lose any friends because you worked in the COVID wards?
No.
Do you feel that New York or New York State handled the COVID pandemic adequately?
Mm. I think so.
Do you think that the federal government handled the COVID problem adequately?
No. You know, let me take back that answer, the first one. Um, to say whether or not the state, New York State, handled it well, I think their hands were tied behind their back a little because they were looking towards the federal part, the government, the White House, on what they needed to do, on how to handle things. But I have to say, Governor Cuomo did a magnificent job. He did the best he could with the situation.
And in view of all the questions that I've asked, and is there anything that you want to add in case your daughters or your sons want to show this clip to your grandkids in the future? Is there any message that you want to impart?
um, well, I love my kids, my grandkids.
No,
The-
because this recording will be available to your
Yeah,
grandkids and to your great
of
grandkids in the
course.
future.
I realize that, and I'm trying to look at you here and think that they're looking at me when they're older, and possibly my great grandkids are listening to me. And, things are going to come your way, whether you like it or not. And just try and handle it. And if you can't, just let it pass you by. Um, Strength. I oh damn man, I need to write all this shit down.
Oh, okay.
Let,
All right.
let, let's pause this for a minute.
Okay. You want me to pause?
Keep pause it.
I will.
You can pause it.
Okay. We're back on, Gilda.
So Anthony, this is a very important question you gave me, and it's deeper than I can say right now. I would like to write this down um, and send it to you and have everyone or whoever decides to want to hear this or read this, they can read my message.
What I'll do is I'll make the text part of your file so that anybody can, if they access your interview, they'll be able to access this your thoughts in writing.
But I do want to say this. I have to say I've been handling this really well. I mean, I have a friend who's so worried and concerned and nervous and not knowing what to do. And that's the worst thing you can possibly do. You need to contain yourself and relax. And I have to say, there is some good to all of this. That I find it's given us time to be at home, to think, reflect. It's given us time to do things that we normally haven't done. You know, we before COVID, we're constantly going out, doing things, going out, socializing, which is good. But sometimes we haven't spent enough time within ourselves. And this is that opportunity. Um, I have to say, this isn't like it's the first pandemic we've ever had. What was it? The Spanish flu?
Spanish flu, I think it was 1918.
1918. I mean, even before that, they went through it and people lived through it. Um, I think the more stressed out you get, the sicker you'll be. You can't. I think where there is bad, there's good. This pandemic may have, you know, well, I can't say it's gone yet. I'm thinking as if it's gone, but um, I believe that it will subside, just like the Spanish flu. Well, what other one, Anthony? What other
There was
uh,
a smallpox. There was smallpox before that,
for
uh,
that?
but
We'll
people
get
got through it. People survived. I mean, there was a lot of casualties, but people
yeah,
survived, and
yeah.
I'm sure that uh,
But
as a nation, we'll pull together and
right,
survive.
exactly. We'll survive it. We just can't ignore it either. I mean, these kids that went out and partied, and I mean, without any clue that we're in a pandemic, that's being irresponsible. But anyway, I'm
Okay.
going
Well, Gilda, I want
to
to thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts with me. And
say,
when this
this
tape
a
is
lot of
finalized, you'll be the third person to see it
hmm,
because it has to go through a process, and then I get it, and I get a transcript, and I'll let you know when it's going to be posted. In the
hmm,
meantime, I'll wait for your written thoughts, even if they get to me, you know, during the week, next week or something. I'll still included in your file.
All
So
right.
with that, I want to thank you. And let me